Joel Osteen. He is one of America's most popular preachers, but faced some fire on social media when his Lakewood church was slow to take in flood victims as the waters rose in Houston. Busloads are taking shelter there now, and we're going to talk to Pastor Osteen about the turnaround after this report from ABC's Victor Oquendo at Lakewood. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, George. And once the church started accepting those donations, they started piling up quickly. The volunteers are lining up once again this morning. You can take a look at part of the work that they've done so far. A mountain of towels on one side, and on this side, a ton of baby supplies.
I promise you, we'll make you feel right at home.
He's the famous TV pastor leading one of the largest congregations in the country.
If you're ever in our area, please stop by and be a part of one of our services.
Joel Osteen, head of Houston's Lakewood Church, but for the past few days, his mega church has come under mega criticism. Some questioning why the 600,000 square foot facility didn't immediately open its doors to desperate evacuees.
We're going to come right back and get them, okay?
It'll be okay. As the floodwaters rose, the church posting online that it was inaccessible due to severe flooding. The reaction online, fierce. Tweets like this saying, when Joel Osteen has a gigantic church and $10 million home in Houston, but is only offering prayers to people affected by Harvey. And the already heavily criticized Joel Osteen isn't helping himself by not opening that mega church of his, and leads me to ask, what would Jesus do? Some even posting photos like these, seeming to show the church grounds totally flood-free.
We have food over here.
But Lakewood officials providing these pictures as proof that there was lots of water just a foot from the top of their floodgates, and saying the doors have been open.
Our doors have always been open. We have been a shelter like they were a shelter from the very beginning.
And now the church up and running as an official shelter, already filled with giant piles of donations and winding lines of cars with volunteers waiting to sign up to help.
In speaking with a lot of those volunteers, we learned a lot of them aren't necessarily Joel Osteen viewers or part of the congregation here. They just told us they're from Houston and they want to help. George?
Okay, Victor, thanks. Pastor Osteen now does join us from Lakewood Church as well. Thank you for joining us this morning. Pastor Osteen, let's get right to the controversy. We did see that post on Sunday from your church saying it was inaccessible, yet so many weighed in showing that didn't seem to be the case. So what went wrong here?
Well, George, first off, the building was inaccessible. The floodwaters went down. I mean, this building flooded in 2001. It had 10 feet of water in the lower bowl, and we put up floodgates, and it kept it from going over. It's only a foot away. But you know, I think, George, the narrative is that we didn't want to take people in, or that we didn't open in time. It's totally not true. We were here for people. We were a shelter. We were taking people as soon as the floodwaters receded, when several people came here to take them in. But the city has a shelter 4 miles from here. We work with the city all the time, and when their shelter was totally full, they started bringing people over here, and here we are again today doing it like we did in 2001 when we housed 3,000 people. So I don't know, I think somebody created that narrative that somehow we were high and dry, and none of that is true. This building, it was a safety issue, and we took people in from the very beginning.
You do seem to be up and running now, but any lessons learned from this?
Well, I think there always is, but I think, George, sometimes it's, when somebody's not in this situation where we had nobody in this facility, we were fearing that it would flood. The last thing we would do is put people in it right at the beginning. But yeah, we would probably do some things differently, obviously. But my niece was stranded right across the street from this building the first 2 days of the flood or 1 day of the flood on the freeway. So it was a big flood, and it affected all of the people that run this facility as well. But you know what? We've been here 60 years helping people, and we're going to be here long after all this dies down, helping these people as well.
Well, we all know the recovery effort from this hurricane is going to take weeks, months, even years for the city of Houston, for Harris County. How do you see Lakewood's mission in that recovery effort?
Well, just what you said, George, it's long term, because this, we'll get them out of the shelters over time when we can, but they need help rebuilding their lives. And so we have teams set up, and we have hundreds of pastors that have already called, and organizations like Samaritan's Purse and World Vision. We'll come in here and we'll help rebuild. They'll be here for a couple of years with us, and that's just, it's just pulling out the sheetrock, helping those, especially the elderly, and just being in it for the long haul. That's the key.
It certainly is, Pastor Osteen. Thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.